Everyone eats out, but people often miss how the food arrives on their plate. Every meal has a story of growers, suppliers, founders, and operators making it all happen. Welcome to Grounded. I'm Lauren Mitchell, and each week I will bring you conversation with the amazing people behind the brands you know and the ones you'll want to know. Grounded is powered by the Buyer's Edge platform, the leading food service digital procurement network, powered by data, software, and collaborative relationships. Let's get grounded. My guest today is an entrepreneur, award-winning executive chef, U.S. Marine Corps veteran, and culinary ninja. He's worked at acclaimed restaurants including Michelin 3-star The French Laundry, Daniel, and Charlie Trotter's. He's a speaker at events like the 2025 Menus of Change Leadership Summit, named Best Chef and Best American Restaurant by the San Jose Mercury, honored as one of the 9 recipients of the 2025 Produce Excellence in Food Service Award, co-founder and executive chef at Salad and Go. Daniel Patino, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It was an honor to be here, a privilege to share the microphone with you and to talk produce and, get the world to understand that produce is not just an afterthought, it's a main ingredient. So it's my passion, and that's what we do here at Salad and Go.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk produce. I've talked to a variety of guests and some with more mastery over produce than others, but this is going to be a special one. But really, I want to talk about your beginnings before we get into Salad and Go. What was it and who was it that got you introduced to cooking from an early age?
That's a really easy question. Growing up, there was somebody always in the kitchen, and in my case was my grandmother. I've always peeked around the door and see what she was up to. I can smell the food cooking, and it always interests me. It almost kind of brought me to her, and then every day I would just kind of sneak around and go in the kitchen, and she would kind of shush me off. But I think she got tired of me and finally said, "Hey, come in here. If you're gonna keep bothering me, I'm gonna teach you some stuff." So it was my grandmother going into the kitchen and really smelling the food, listening to the food, was the first influence that I really had about how food is special and how you can transform it into something delicious. And ever since then, I can never really seem to get off or out of the kitchen. It was always like my happy place, kind of my therapy, I guess, right?
Yes, I love that you follow your curiosity. And just hearing you say that it reminds me of any time I'm in the kitchen and I get to cooking something, I'm immediately taken back to some of its beginnings. I was sharing with you, I was making jam recently with my kids, and it just takes me back to that season of my life when I was berry picking with my parents. And it's amazing how food can transport you like that.
Oh, yeah. I had a member of our team earlier this week on Tuesday. She brought in some figs from her backyard, and she was, "Hey, I don't know what to do with this. I have so many of them." And I was like, "Leave them there and make some jam." So I made some clove and fig jam for the team here. And everybody's enjoying it today, I guess.
Yum, clove and fig jam. That's awesome. Okay, but fast forward, now you've cooked in some of the most prestigious kitchens in the world, French Laundry, to name a few. But bridge that for me. How did you get into, from your early beginnings to cooking with a stint in the Marine Corps? Talk to us about.
Yeah. So during high school, I was always the sibling in the kitchen, and my sister would always be like, "Hey, you make the best sandwiches. Can you make us a sandwich?" It was almost a con for them for me to make lunch for them and dinner, but I enjoyed it. I kind of learned some stuff and all that. But coming out of high school, I was like, what am I gonna do? And I know I enjoy cooking, but I want to do something else and kind of try. So right out of high school, I joined the military. I was fortunate enough to become part of the Brotherhood of the United States Marine Corps. It was a really special time in my life. It taught me a lot of dedication, a lot of how to be organized, leadership skills that I still carry with me today. And it was a great, great time. I made lifelong friends. We still talk. It's been almost 30 years, and it's something that never goes away. You always carry it with you, you know? But from there, and I when I was about to get out, I knew that, you know, I enjoyed my time in there, but it wasn't something that I wanted to pursue as a career. And I started to ask myself, what do I want to do with my life? Right. And I've always kind of, it was funny because as I'm kind of asking myself, what am I going to do with my life? I was actually cooking and making food for myself, actually, to figure out what it was that I was going to do. Right. So, um, I know I'm not going to stay in the Marine Corps. What can I do? And cooking was a really good answer, but I wanted to really see if that was something that I was really going to be passionate about and pursue. So, um, during my last 18 months of enlistment, I actually sought out a chef in San Diego. It was at the U.S. Grant Hotel. And I said, hey, I think I want to, you know, be in the kitchens and cook, and I really enjoy it. And I just want to try it out first to see if this is something that I want to do. So he was very generous and said, you know what, I have a program. It's a non-paid program, you know, where we'll teach you if you want to learn, but you got to put the time in. So I found myself going from work in the Marine Corps to running downtown San Diego, get there by 4 o'clock p.m. and work to midnight, literally washing dishes for like the first 8 or 9 months without ever touching any ingredients at all. But it was time well spent. I learned a lot. I went through his entire program, and I remember the very first day I got to actually put away produce. That was like my first introduction to putting away food. Um, the curiosity got the best of me, and I started opening boxes to see what was in there and all that good stuff. Um, it 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 was rewarding. I earned it, right? I earned the right to play with produce and touch produce and learn about it and all that. And I was very fortunate that the kitchen was, um, it was like a very well organized kitchen brigade where each station had certain responsibilities. So I found myself going through a lot of the stations, and obviously the last one in a French kitchen is the sauce station. That's like, you know, you got to earn your right to go there. So it was really exciting and really cool for me to learn how to make all that stuff. And it timed perfectly. By the time I was about to get out of the Marine Corps, I finished the program. And I mean, to this day, I still remember him, Chef Willie De Pascali, right? He said, hey, I think you have what it takes. And I'll never forget this. He wrote me a personal check from his checkbook and said, here you go. Here's for your last work of 18 months. I think you need to go to culinary school. And I started to search for some schools. And that's kind of how I got my start into real kitchen life.
That is so generous, first of all, but also I think, our listeners will understand more about the importance of this season in your life, not only just for the nudge on behalf of someone else and how important that is of us as stewards in this industry to support and mentor others, but really just the design of that space and the intentionality of the kitchen. I think we'll learn that that became something that was important to what you contributed in other areas as well.
Yeah, it was I still remember that program. It was an intentional way of finding out if you really wanted to be in the kitchen because, you know, you had to cut your teeth and wash a lot of dishes before you got introduced to food. So it was kind of intended to weave out people that thought they wanted to be in the kitchen to the ones that really wanted to be in the kitchen. So the last year was really the training part of it and learning how magical food can be.
So with that, in California, you work for some incredible restaurant groups. Maybe just share some of the highlights and even just some of the real culinary principles that you took out of that experience and maybe still utilize today.
Oh yeah. My school was in San Francisco, which I was very lucky because, as you know, San Francisco is one of the cities in the United States where food is king. It's important. Everybody goes out to eat. Everybody knows their food, so you have to be really good at what you do. So as I was going through the culinary program at school, I got a job right down the street at it was the hit restaurant at the time, Stars. It was very well known, a lot of celebrity, big shots, all that good stuff, and I was lucky enough to get a job there as a prep cook during my off hours at school, prepping a lot of school in the morning, not really seeing the people or the restaurants. It was almost like in the bottoms. You can picture the typical New York City restaurant where all the prep kitchens are down in the cellar in the basement, and they're just kind of driving away, prepping food for the cooks upstairs to cook the food, right? So it was really, really good. But that's where my training at the hotel and the extra chef really came in because I spent a lot of time doing that. I was very fortunate too that the chef took notice and kind of took me under his wing. His name is Christopher Fernandez. Is one of my very first chefs that really taught me how to layer food and how to season food as you're cooking it. It was the principal foundation of that I still use today. So I went from the prep cook to a line cook to a sous chef to him asking me to go and fix a restaurant that he had in Seattle, Stars as well. Spent some time there. And then from there, I really kind of wanted to see what else was out there, and I made my way over to the French Laundry. Very lucky, very, very lucky. And I say that because there was a lot of really great candidates out there that were, trying to get the job there. And the only reason why I got it, I found out months down the line, is because I was really equal to a lot of other people that were applying for the job. But and I remember it very vividly. It was on my way back to the car after the interview. I saw a cigarette bud and I picked it up and I put it in my pocket, just because I didn't want it to be in front of the restaurant floor, right? Uh, and one of the sous chefs at the time was looking out the window and saw that. So
Wow.
that was the difference maker of the attention to detail that we're looking for that actually got me in the door there.
That's very Dave Ramsey, actually.
Yeah.
Every individual treats their company as if it's their own. So every individual entrepreneur, and he actually references that same example. If you see trash in the parking lot walking to your car, who's the one who picks it up? Who's that? Who ownership? Very cool. The difference maker. I love that. How about just culinary principles, just especially at that level with, in this chefy chef time of your life, what were some of the big culinary principles that you took out, or what did you notice to be measures of success for those caliber restaurants?
I would tell you right off the back, the most important thing, it's not your cooking skills because everybody in those establishments have that. It's your organization. How do you organize your day? How do you organize your station? How do you organize your food? How do you organize the way you're cooking something consistently, uh, a lot of times during service and get the same result of executing, right? So your organization, it's going to determine how well you cook. And a lot of people don't realize that. You don't have time to be running around looking for kosher salt or fresh toasted black pepper during service. It has to be done. It has to be organized. Your pans have to be lined up in a certain way so that it's almost like you're just reaching and you know where everything is at as you're kind of moving through the motions of cooking. So that is super important. It starts there. It starts with, honestly, it starts with the previous night of how am I going to organize myself tomorrow morning? What's my priorities? And you start going through the list in your minds. And when you get there, you start organizing it so the way that you're going to be successful. You don't ever want to leave your station during service. If you do, you kind of like have to tell yourself, I didn't really do a good job of organizing myself today. So the organization skills at all those caliber restaurants is the first thing that you're going to get taught.
I'm going to use that tonight when I'm cooking dinner. Lay out everything. I can't, kids, I cannot leave my station.
You should see how much uh, easier and faster and better results you'll get by doing that.
Wow. Very cool. Okay, so much that I want to talk about with Salad and Go. So why don't we try and hop over there? What and how did you get introduced to Salad and Go from this scene in San Francisco and this obvious passion of yours from the very beginning with cooking and the practice of it and the art of it? How did that occur?
At the time, I was the executive chef at a restaurant here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Uh, it was a classic American restaurant, a lot of seafood, a lot of steaks, but there was a lot of emphasis on seasonality and vegetables ingredients. So I've always really loved to pay attention to the vegetables. I don't want them to be part of a dish. I want them to be included, if that makes any sense. A lot of menus get written with vegetables being kind of a nice garnish or an afterthought. For me, it has to impact the dish. It has to have flavor. It has to bring something to the dish, right? So that's the way I not only think about protein, but vegetables have to be the same way. So, it was one of the things that I've always loved to pay attention to and really include. So salad and go was kind of I don't want to say it was a happy mistake, but at the time there was people coming in and ordering the Caesar salad and consistently and really just kind of ordering that. As a chef, when you start seeing a two top order the same thing over and over every time they come in, you start to wonder yourself like, what's going on? Do they not like anything else on the menu or what? So it was influenced by a couple saying, "Hey, we love your salad. We love your Caesar salad. We have this crazy idea. Would you help us?" Right. And honestly, at the time, I was like, "Mm, I just got here. This is a pretty cool job. Dinner only 5 days a week, and had pretty much control of the menu. And it was kind of like one of quote unquote a chef's dream job. Like
Yeah.
really get to cook dinner. It was busy, but it was not crazy where you're doing 300 covers. It's something where you can do 150 covers and really execute it really well. Attention to detail. So it was like the perfect setting. And for me to want to leave that was really hard. After some conversation with my wife, uh, we kind of came to the end result of the what if. Like, we don't want to ever say, hey, what if? So we took a leap of faith and we jumped head in and, started going with the planning of Salad and Go. And, it was about a year of R&D work to get the menu down and tweak recipes and all that good stuff. But it was really kind of like a conversation. And that's how really this whole Salad and Go revolution started.
So pause here for a minute. And for listeners who are not familiar, although it is spreading like wildfire, can you give us kind of the 30,000 on Salad and Go? How many units are you guys up to? And, what are the values? What is the mission behind the brand? What did you guys set out in the market to do?
Sure. I love talking about that because it really hits home. Um, Salad and Go started in Gilbert, Arizona. Right now, we're currently in Oklahoma, Nevada, Dallas, Texas, Houston, San Antonio, obviously here in Phoenix. We have 100 or a little bit over 140 locations currently. Um, Salad and Go was built to disrupt the fast food industry. That's probably the easiest way to say it. Fast food has a fix and a need in America, but not everybody is looking to eat that way. We wanted to give people the opportunity to feed their bodies the right way. Um, we wanted people to have the ability to nourish the way they eat, their body, their brain, the way they felt, not really based on economics. We wanted to make sure that it was reachable and obtainable for everybody. So we set out to be disruptors, to change how people think of fast food. Unfortunately, a lot of people think of fast food and they automatically think bad for you food, um, you know, process and whatever else you want to say about it. But we wanted to be different. We wanted to engrave in people that, hey, there is an option, there's a choice out there. It's good for you. It tastes great and it's obtainable. And this is why we get up every single day, is because there's somebody out there that needs this and we're here to provide that for them.
We need it so bad. I mean, I grew up and still do road trip all the time. I was raised in Southern California, so we would hit the mountains, we would hit Utah, Las Vegas is just a drive away. And there is limited options when you're on the road in terms of fast food, healthy options. So, like, my husband would love a burger, but I would always care for a salad. So we eventually found Subway, which was a nice in between, right? They've got lots, but a lot of people actually don't realize they do salads in the bowl, and they have for 25 years because I've been eating them. One of the very few things that you can pretty much rely on to be off the freeway when you're on a road trip. So this brand, when I heard about it, probably 5 years ago now that it was up and coming, I was like, "This is so magnificent." But I can't imagine, just again, a chef stepping into high growth operational environment. How did you have to adjust your thinking to from kind of that one plate at a time? And talk to us about what that looked like in terms of transitioning into the role you have here at Salad and Go.
It was eye-opening, to say the least. Coming from the fine dining world of one plate at a time, um, it I still think that way, honestly, right? I have to think that way because I don't want to put out something that's not going to be great and it's not going to taste great as well. So the mindset is still there. How to execute it, it's a lot. It's a lot different, way different, honestly. How can I get the one inch by 1 inch cuts on romaine and feed 10,000 people a day? Like that. That's not an easy task, right? So I literally had to teach myself how to produce in large amounts without decreasing the quality. It is a very, very hard thing to do. Um, a lot of mistakes were made there along the way. I own up to them, but it was learning as well too, right? Um, h- that's the difficult part about salad and go. It is not an easy thing to do, but it's a great thing to do. It's a challenge. It's adjusting how you produce and make food, but still wanting to execute it perfectly every single time. Every salad that goes out the door, that goes out the window, um, it matters, right? So how do we get that done? I mean, I spent a lot of time making a lot of phone calls to people that I looked up to people that I trusted, to food engineers that create these equipments that help you cut romaine perfectly the way you want it. Um, I l- I don't want to say I had to think like an engineer, but I kind of became one for a couple years because I had to learn the equipment, um, how it's done, how it works, how to maintain it to get what I want. So I spend a lot of time on YouTube looking at stuff. I made a lot of phone calls. I made a lot of mechanical engineer friends that I still call when I have issues. Um, and it was the learning curve of how do I get it into a central kitchen. So we have what we call central kitchens. We have one in Phoenix and one in Dallas, and they're cooking and they're making food. That's the difference. You can go into a production facility where they're just producing pounds and cutting lettuce and chopping this and chopping that. We're dealing with fresh produce every single day. And as you know, fresh produce is different every single day. So you have to know your ingredients and what you're looking for to be able to execute that. So it is trying to be the chef of managing 50, 60,000 pounds of food being made and cooked every single day to be delivered to our stores. It's not easy, and the one thing that I'll tell you, I can't do this alone. I have very talented and dedicated people that help me achieve that dream every single day. And without their knowledge, my knowledge, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now. And it's gratifying when you walk into one of our stores and you see the beautiful romaine, the roasted peppers, and all that good stuff. So it wasn't easy, but we're still learning and we're still getting better every single day. That the secret sauce is not ever stopping. It's always how do I make it better? How do I make it better? It's always asking yourself that. Never be satisfied.
Sure. And you guys have central kitchens, like you mentioned in Arizona and Texas, but every item, as I understand, is made to order, correct?
Yes. So that's the one thing that I don't think people realize. I think they they see as a fast food and how quick and efficient we are that we have pre-made salads. We don't. We have a garde manger line like you would see in any fine dining restaurant. It is all the ingredients are laid out as you're ordering your food. We're making your food. We're customizable. You can add, you can remove anything that you want from our line. You can make your own salad if you want. We have honestly over 1 million salad combinations that you can come in and have to you can have a Caesar salad 40, 50 different ways and never have it the same way if you wanted to, based on the ingredients and the types of dressings that we have. So everything is made to order. We cook fresh in the morning with eggs for breakfast. We cook our turkey sausage. We roast our potatoes in store. We want to have the high quality in batches so that we are able to provide the guests the best food quality possible and the best experience.
So you've talked about how hands-on you've been with the kitchen prep model and even just the equipment decisions, all super important. And back to the $1 million or the million, salad variety. How do you balance that innovation and consistency when your recipes are executed by hundreds of different team members every and when people are making those orders, do you guys have and track any way of, okay, this combination continues to come up even though it's a custom? Do you have a way to read that and present it on your menu? So kind of a two-part question. One, how do you balance again that innovation and consistency when you've got so many operators in so many states? And then two, do you draw on feedback to some of those custom built salads to place it as a menu item?
Yeah, our guests are very passionate. They're very vocal. Um, if you go onto our Facebook page or Instagram, you'll always see people commenting how to get their salad. Oh, I got it this way. We listen to them. We pay attention to what they're saying. We want to give them what they want as well, right? So a lot of our inspiration comes directly from our guests. Um, what is it that they're craving? What is it they want? And based off what they're saying inspires the menu. Obviously, seasonality has a lot to do with it. That's one of the things that it's very crucial, and I'll tell you why. Because every chef really talks about seasonality and how important it is, right? It's super important for us, and especially me, because you're going to get the best tasting produce at the time that's in season. That's a given, right? That's why it's in season. Tomatoes are going to taste better in the summertime than they're going to do in the fall, just because of the sun, the natural sugars that built in there, the toughness of the skin to resist the sun, how far away they are from the ground and the vine, and all that matters. But that enables us to get a better price point as well, because they're in abundance. And that also enables us to give our guests a good experience at a lower price as well, too, right? We want to create value. We create value with the type of ingredients that we use, the quality of our food, the flavor. And we also, let's not be naive there, not, it's tough sometimes, right? I come from a single mom, right? It's tough where she had to do a couple cut jobs at a time to, make ends meet. So we also take that in consideration when we're, making our food and pricing out our food and all that good stuff. But we want to create value. We want you to walk away saying that was well worth it, right? Like, crave it. I want to come back for it. So that is, yes, we do listen to our guests. It drives our menu. Seasonality drives the menu. Also trends, right?
Yeah.
You go out there and you start to see people, what they're doing and what's trending. So we also take that in consideration right now. Spice is like everywhere, right? Like you're going to get a lot of Korean spice, gochujang, and a bunch of other stuff. Even in dessert, you start to see it in fine dining restaurants where they have a little chocolate chili something, or a good combination of spice with desserts. And how do we get consistency? Um, the one thing that I could tell you that's a huge difference is presence. You know, we call our location bowls, right? They're big salad bowls. So I'm at the bowls all the time. It's on my calendar. It's blocked off for a reason. 2 hours a day. I pick different locations wherever I'm at, and I'm there. And I'm not just there looking. I come in, I wash my hands, I put on an apron. What do you need? I'll cook for them. I'll make food or whatever it is that they need. Break down boxes, throw out trash, organize the walk-in, clean, sweep. It doesn't matter. Um, that's how you learn. That's how you see what's really going on inside your locations. And that's how you get better ideas of how to help them to be efficient as well. So presence will equal your consistency, and you're going to get honest feedback of what's good and what's not. And then you take that back to your central kitchen teams and you say, hey, I noticed the Brussels sprouts were a little bit overcharged. Like, um, talk to me about it. You can't assume they burned them, right? It's what happened to the Brussels sprouts. Oh, well, you know what? They're coming in a little bit larger, so we had to adjust oven time, or we had to adjust cook time, or simply, honestly enough, hey, we forgot about it to pull it out of the oven. Okay, it happens, right? We're cooking real food. It's going to happen, and that's one of the things where you have to really have talented people to really see your inspiration and execute it every single day. So I'm not the one that's cooking the food. It's the entire teams at the central kitchen, and I call them cooks, because they're line cooks and just in big industrial equipment, making our dressings, making our cold brew, making everything. So it's really showing them to understand the ingredients so we can get the consistency. Our pico, the spice level on the jalapeno, they ain't gonna be the same every single time, right? So we taste it. Hey, it's a little flat. What do we do? Okay, do we add a little bit more? Do we re-season? It's adjusting too, right? We have a basis, we have a recipe, but like you do at home, you adjust your flavors as well.
Yeah, I love that we're getting into just by organically just the nature or the culture of Salad and Go. I didn't know that each unit was called a bowl. It's very neat.
And all our team members are called greenies, So
Greenies.
greenie, yeah, it's a fun way to tie in what we do with every member of our team and our locations.
I love it. So in the theme of pivot, you know, I explain how you guys decided or how it came upon to order and offer breakfast at Salad and Goes. That was not intended from the start, correct?
No, it was something that when uh, I'm going to back up a little bit here because I think it'll tie into your question. When we first opened, it was supposed to be very slow, very mellow. We didn't tell anybody about it. We want to get practice, just like when you do a soft opening at a restaurant, right? You want to get practice and fix your oops and uh-ohs in the first couple of weeks to make sure that when you are full blown, you're able to execute what you want to execute. So this is engraved in my mind. I will never forget this. When we first opened, we were expecting maybe 300 people, right? Throughout the whole day. It ended up being like something around 600 cars going through the drive-thru. And we were like, oh my God, like we're going to run out of food before we even open, right?
Wow.
So that was the first, oh my God, like we have something here. People really want this, right? And everybody was generally so happy that we were doing this. And we did run out of food. We ran out of food at 2 o'clock. I remember that and going like, I'm going to have to stay all night and make everything all over again. Because at the time we were making everything at our locations, like at every single store, right? We soon figured that that wasn't going to work. Consistency was going to be an issue. And it's a very small tight space inside our bowls. It's 750 square feet. It's intentional. It's intended to be that way so that we can execute really fast. But as we ramped up and we really started to go, a lot of questions started to come up. Hey, do you guys do breakfast? And we were like, no, we don't, right? And that's where listening to our guests comes in, and they were like, hey, you guys should do some breakfast. So about 3 to 4 months in, we started really slow. We started to do some breakfast items, and it just kind of picked up from there. So the demand was there, the ask for it was there, and a lot of people when they see salad, they go, they don't think breakfast, but we have a breakfast line that's only going to get better. It's you know, uh, me and my R&D chef are always putting our heads down and coming up with new stuff. So we have a lot of great stuff coming your way with breakfast, with salads, and just all I can tell you is we locked ourselves in a room for about a week with no meetings and no distractions, and we had fun writing stuff on the board. Yeah.
What I love about that too is you could drive through, grab a healthy breakfast item, and then pick up a salad for work, and it's a twofer.
There's a little bit of a unknown. A lot of our guests come in and they'll pick up their breakfast burrito, their salad, and their drink, and they're set for the day. We have bundles too, so you can allow you to come in and get that as well.
Awesome. So awesome. Okay, getting a little bit more high level, talking about the industry in general. First, again, given your experience with more traditional chef and then now fast casual and QSR operations, what do you think traditional chefs could actually learn from being in this space and vice versa?
We need to take advantage of what is given to us, the access that we have to the local community, right? I would put it out there to any traditional chef, any chef in the fine dining restaurant, or anybody out there that's doing food. Take advantage of the outlet that we have to reach people every single day through a drive-thru. Um, I don't see it as competition. I see it as a really great thing to give people an option to eat what they want to eat. What the food. I don't think people realize that food is going to fuel your body and it's going to make you feel the way you feel when you eat something, right? I'm not saying like you should always, put whatever you want to do in your body, like put all these vegetables in it. A good pizza is a good pizza, and I'll be somebody that enjoys it every once in a while, but like you shouldn't have to put something in your body because you don't have a choice. And that's something that we need. That's why we exist. We want to disrupt it. We want to be able to be the ones that people can turn to when they want to feel good and put something really good and delicious in their body, and really benefit from it as well. I mean, I'm about 18 months ago, I really, I'm getting a little up there in age, and it's getting harder to lose weight and stay fit, right? So I told myself it's either now or never, and I really started to really, really look at what I eat, really what I put inside my body, and I feel great. I haven't felt this great in probably 20 years. I shed about 50 pounds and my energy level is up, and I wake up energized in the morning, and I'm proof that it works, honestly.
That's so great. And food tastes good, right?
That's the one thing I want to make a point that if it's not delicious, it's not going on the menu. And I want people out there to understand that healthy food can be delicious and taste great. I think people, when they see or when they hear, oh, nutritious, healthy food, automatically they think, oh, it's going to be bland. It's not going to have any flavor. That's not true. Come to us and we'll show you.
What do you believe to be the greatest need in our industry?
I think there's probably a balance of everything what you just said. For me, what I see as the greatest need is to educate our young guests. That's something that I'm really passionate about, because they're the ones that are going to, run the world in a couple of years here, right? So um, we do a lot of work with young people. We get them to understand that vegetables are delicious, how to use them. A lot of the kids, you'll be surprised how much they love vegetables, but they don't have access to it, so they don't know what it tastes like. It's not in their wheelhouse of what an artichoke tastes like, or what a cucumber or celery or a really good roasted caramelized carrot can be, almost like a little sugary treat, right? So when you have access and you're able to reach the young population out there, I think it's going to like really vamp up demand of better food that's out there for you. And I think that's something that needs attention. So we have a program called Healthy Habits where we go out to the community and we introduce them nice and slow. We don't want to shock them, right? So we put lemons and cucumbers and strawberries and bananas in water, and we let them taste the different flavors until they build up the courage, if you want to say that, to try an artichoke or try something. And you'll be surprised that a lot of the young palates will tell you, because they're the best palates, because they're going to tell you what they taste. They're not going to tell you what they think. So you always want to listen to them. They have, like, my daughter, she loves our Caesar dressing. She has no idea there's anchovies and garlic and everything in there, right? All she knows is that she loves it, but she's always like, "Hey, when are you gonna make the sauce, Dad? When are you gonna make the sauce?" So, um, it's introducing them to those flavors and the vegetables and all that good stuff, so that when they get older, they're able to say, "Hey, we want more of this type of stuff going out there." So it's a work, but it's well worth it.
Education. Yeah, I love that answer.
Yeah,
Oh, goodness. This has been so wonderful. I love your story. I think others will too. I'm glad we had a chance to share it. I'm going to head into what I call the final mile section where we do some more rapid fire style questions.
sure.
Go ahead and share one ingredient that you'll never compromise on.
Eggs. Eggs is something that for me is very special. Um, it's a magical ingredient if you really think about it. The entire world uses them, and you can transform them into anything that you want. You can make a dessert. You can use it in a pasta. You can make, just so many different things, different textures. It's truly something that's magical.
How about the go-to salad order on your menu?
Caesar salad with buffalo chicken. That's an easy one. That's my favorite.
Never like that one. I love buffalo chicken. A fast food chain you secretly admire.
I would say, like, there's a very small, I think I don't even think they have, it's not a fast food chain. It's more of a little establishment where it's a little cafe where you walk in and, unknowingly they serve cafes and pastries, but the guy back there usually makes lunch for himself. And if you ask him, "Hey, what are you cooking?" He'll share his food with you. And it's pretty cool. And I'm not willing to give up where it's at because there's my little secret spots.
That's really cool. It's a cool tradition. We have a tradition on the show where we ask guests to pose a question to the next guest, not knowing who they are. So what is your question, Daniel, for our next guest?
My question would be, how good do you feel about what you do every single day? And how satisfied are you with it?
Love that. Love it. For those that are listening and they want to get a hold of you, connect with you, shoot you a high five and great show, where can they reach you?
The easiest way to reach me, honestly, is just my email. It's Daniel@saladandgold.com. Every day I check it. That's something that I was notorious for not clearing my inboxes, and I had thousands of emails every single day. And now it's like I wake up, that's the first thing I do. In the daytime, that's another thing I do. So I look at it 5, 6 times a day. So it's one of those things that it's my personal goal not to have an email before I go to sleep. Clear it, answer it, and then I'll go start all again the next day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Daniel. You have been such a pleasure to have on today.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, and it's important for everybody else to know out there that whatever you do, really, like, nobody's perfect. Just try to get better every single day, and that's how I go to sleep satisfied every night.
There you go. This has been another very exciting episode of Grounded. See you next time. That's a wrap on this episode of Grounded. We've covered a lot of ground as we explored what it really takes to run food service behind the scenes. For show notes, highlights, and our latest market insights, visit us at groundedonthepod.com. Grounded is powered by the Buyer's Edge platform, delivering smarter solutions, greater efficiency, and real savings through connected tech, powerful data, and industry expertise. For more information and to get a personal demo of the Buyer's Edge platform, email me at lauren.mitchell@producealliance.com. And if you liked what you heard, subscribe so you don't miss an episode.